there, welcome to Ottawa Experts. I'm Moira Hutchison and I am your success coach. Tonight I have a couple of guests with me and we're going to discuss ways to help you decrease stress and increase success. I specialize in helping people manage stress, losing weight and mindfulness coaching, which are basically all components of helping people get unstuck. So my first guest is Erica Vincelli. She's a mortgage agent who specializes in refinancing mortgages, which helps clients eliminate and reduce debt, which is an awesome way of getting unstuck. So thank you, Erica.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And my next guest is Nancy Galway, who's a social worker who specializes in geriatric care, and she's also the director of the local eWomen chapter. So welcome, Nancy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for both coming. So we've actually had a number of conversations in the past about how to recognize what is being stuck and different ideas around ignoring it and how stress plays into that whole feeling. Mm-hmm. So Nancy, what would you say is the biggest stressor to people, that stress that causes people just feel like they're really stuck?
I think a big one for everybody, me included, is time.
Time, yes.
Time, there's never enough time in the day.
Uh-huh.
And you can't increase the hours in the day. There'll always be 24 hours, so you have to learn how to effectively manage your time and examine your life sometimes and see what things you're doing that maybe you don't need to be doing, because we tend to fill our days with so much stuff that we don't always take time for ourselves. So
absolutely, putting importance on things that maybe aren't filling us up. And how about you, Erica? What
I don't know if it's that I'm from the finance industry, but I would have to say one of the biggest stresses can be money, and that one can just eat away at your soul, and it's so painful.
Absolutely, and that's why I really wanted to have you in this conversation, because I think that plays into everything that we do as a society. In the Western world, money is such an intrinsic part of life. It's that you either have too much. Well, actually, I wouldn't like having that problem.
Too much. That's the worst problem.
I'd like to have that problem.
I'd like to have that problem.
That's a big problem. But with having the stress of money, if you had more money, sometimes people give you have more time to do stuff.
Yeah.
So
True.
I find money could be not to put yours down, but I find money just has that real stress.
Well, in
True.
my own opinion, that I think that piece about time often plays into the money, right?
Yes.
Because it's like, maybe I don't have enough time to do the things I'd really like to do because I'm busy.
You have to work to
Working.
make the money.
Yeah, working or marketing or getting new clients and that sort of thing. So I think the two are really quite tied together.
Sure.
And someone can have lots of money and no time to do it, or someone can have a lot of time, but because they have more time doesn't mean they have the money to do what they want to do.
Right. But don't you think that sometimes we get caught up into a belief of I am less than because I don't have the money to have the fancy car and the nice house and the designer clothes and stuff. Don't you think that that's maybe sometimes a bit overplayed for some people?
Oh gosh, absolutely. I mean, when you see the magazines and the TV and
Exactly.
all the shows and all the celebrities, and they have everything that they want and everything that we want, it just gives us this false hope of what we should have to feel whole. When the reality is, I find that, if you're happy with yourself and happy with what you have, you're never trying to look for more and try to strive for more. It's okay to want more and work hard towards getting more, but it's a lot harder to, it's easy to want more, but if you are not happy with what you have, then
No, and that's a
then you
really
get
good
stuck.
point, because the thing is wanting more is healthy, just so long as it's fun getting it, right? Because if wanting more means that you have sleepless nights, or you're on a time crunch always, or you're missing out on the fun things, then you're stuck.
Yeah.
You're just as stuck
Totally.
as somebody who has lots of money and doesn't take time to do that. So I think that the biggest thing that I often say to people about getting unstuck is to actually, number one, take a really honest inventory of what is, right? Like I said about this idea, I think that one of the things that I've noticed so many times is that we buy into other people's ideas of how we should be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, successful people look like this, successful people act that way. So in effect, you look at the potential of an increased success and then increase stress on yourself, because in order to be there, I have to
Do this.
be or do so much
Yeah.
more. And so the other part of all of that, though, in my own opinion, is it comes from limiting beliefs that we've bought into. Oftentimes it's from our childhood. The amount of clients that I've worked with over the years, that when it gets down to the core of how come they feel like they need to have more money, it's because they had a belief when they were a child that they were less than somebody else. You know, Johnny down the road had the big car, and obviously, so it's like a belief that gets locked in because of just that snapshot, and it doesn't serve anymore.
Do you think women feel more that way, that are affected in childhood more than men with that belief, do you think?
That's a
Or
good
is it-
question.
yeah.
I don't think so. I think it hits everybody in a different
It's
way.
all relative, I would assume. Too.
Yeah, because I think limiting beliefs that guys, I think guys they have a real attitude of they want to be seen as the hero, as
Yes,
the the successful person, and so their drive is going to be really driven,
Very specific.
specific on
Focused.
achievement. In fact, that's an interesting segue into an ebook that I've written about.
I knew that, that's why I said it.
Oh, aren't
No.
you cute? What I wrote about was the difference between the masculine way of manifesting and achieving goals and the feminine way. And what I just said was the masculine way is set a goal and put everything towards that. Whereas the feminine way is much more, how does this make me feel? So if I want to run a successful business, I need to if I'm going to do it from the feminine perspective, I look and visualize that, but then see how does it make me feel. We know, I mean, how many times has that been said? And it's very true. Men don't like to talk about feelings. I work with male clients and we joke about that because they do.
Well, men
They
have
do
no
have
feelings.
They
Yeah,
do.
right.
They just put them under the table. They're under the table. But the whole point is that then for a woman in this feminine way of manifesting is that every opportunity you sit and say, does this feed that feeling or take away from it? And that helps you steer through. But the feminine way takes a lot of trust.
Yeah.
And so for myself, I actually am very driven on the masculine side because I am a very goal-oriented person. So I have to work on softening that up. But you know, that does come from childhood. And I'm aware of that in my own self, that one of my own beliefs when I was a child, and I guess it came from my father, is if you wanted something done right, you had to do it yourself. And that...
It's a good way of thinking, though.
Yeah, but when it burns you out, no.
Sure, of course. Yeah, no, that's true.
It is a good way, but when it's to the detriment of your own...
When you put it in that perspective, I guess it's a little bit better to understand. But I mean, it's also nice to know that you were given these, that was instilled in you to, if you want something, go after it and do it and make sure you get it done the way you want it to be done. But if it's causing you the utmost stress and, sleepless nights that you're not getting something that you want accomplished, then, it is unhealthy, but it also got you to be a very successful person.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm still a work in progress.
Aren't we all?
It's all about the journey.
But that's actually back to this whole aspect, the whole idea of reducing stress and increasing success. It's a journey. You know how the whole part of success is that it's a destination, but it's not. I think it's really important for us not to get hung up on the destination. It's that you really, really have to learn how to enjoy.
Oh, you said it. It's the journey.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean,
True.
because there's always a start date and there's an end date for everybody, no matter what.
Yeah.
And so you have to enjoy what's going on in between. And if you can't enjoy that, then there's no point to getting to the end result, because you're still not going to be happy with it if you didn't have fun on your way there, right?
True.
No, and that's really funny that you say that, because I was when I work with people in particular, weight loss is an area where I often have this kind of conversation with people that they say, you know, they really, really want to lose that 40 or 50 pounds. They really want to, and no matter what they do, it's not coming off.
It's hard.
The truth is they don't want to. On the unconscious level, there's a belief that says, if I lose the weight, then for some women, that who will I be without this? There's actually a common thread that I've seen in quite a few clients that I've worked with, where if I lose this weight, then I'm going to get hit on right, left, and center, and I don't know that I want all that attention. So it's that.
It's like having too much money, really.
Well, yeah, they're
Awful. It's awful.
It's awful. No, but I think some people are secure in their insecurities.
Yeah.
So it's easier to be insecure than it is to be secure. So if you lose that weight and you become this different person, they're just maybe very afraid of the unknown. I mean, who isn't? But, you know, being afraid of what the end result will be. Yeah. But, you know, also going back to appreciating the journey, because it is probably very rewarding to lose 40 or 50 pounds, that I'm sure your clients have loved the end result. You know?
When they get through that part, absolutely, because that's the key piece, is that, and actually it's another trick that I use with people when they've come for an addiction. I worked with somebody who had an addiction to chips, and so when she
Don't
told
say
me,
my name.
what was you? No.
Are we talking about me here?
Oh well, maybe you
Our
can
secret's out.
Try this, and then let me know how it goes.
So how do you get over this addiction to chips, you're saying?
Well, what was really funny was she came to me because she wanted to lose weight, she wanted to get healthier, but this was her downfall, was this addiction. And so she said, okay, so now that I've signed up, you're going to tell me the first thing is I can't eat them anymore. And I said, no, I'm not going to say anything about that. So what I told her was, don't limit them. Don't keep buying as many
don't
packs.
Say they're good, don't say they're bad.
Yeah, that's a very good point too. Don't label them as good or bad. But what I do is get them to say out loud every time they're eating them, and every time they consciously engage that here I am, because I know that some of this is unconscious. Like sometimes, and I've done it before, eaten a whole bag of cookies and thought, oh, whoops, I'm at the bottom.
Where did they go?
This is a full
Where did that
bag.
happen?
Who ate those?
So with this story about the chips, what I got her to do was say out loud every time you're consciously aware that you're eating them. I don't care how far down in the bag, but just say out loud, and it had to be out loud. Say, I choose this. I'm choosing this. It took her 2 weeks, and she called me and she said, I got it. Because the truth is, what she was doing is she was drinking. We figured out what it was that she was feeding was an anger. Every time she got pissed off with her husband, she'd be like chomping down, and then that felt good. So she'd release that.
It's the crunch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But doing that thing of saying, I choose this, she'd argue with herself and then say, hang on a minute, I'm choosing to have health. I'm choosing to lose weight or feel better. And so she started to put it down.
Well, sometimes you look at this product and you're thinking, all this because of this?
Yes. Yeah.
What? How did this happen?
Yeah.
And it becomes, especially when you're saying, I like that you're telling people to say it out loud, because then you have to throw it out there. You have to throw it out to the universe and tell the universe, like, I'm choosing to do this, which is okay, but what's the result of it? So you look at it, you go, this for this?
Yeah.
I don't think so. And hopefully that's the end result for a lot of your clients too.
Takes the joy out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's going to bring us to a really good point that I'd like to discuss some more, and they're called ANTs, automatic negative talk. But we're going to talk a wee bit more about that when we come back. So please come back, and we're going to explore more ways to reduce stress and increase success.